Ever wonder why some men disappear from her mind overnight, while others live rent-free in her thoughts for years? It's not about looks, status, or charm. It's something deeper, invisible, but impossible to erase. Every time you make a woman feel something powerful, her body stores it like a tattoo on her nervous system. Most men never learn this law, and that's why they chase attention that slips through their fingers. But once you understand the psychology behind emotional ownership, you'll never chase again. Because the truth is brutal. You don't need to be perfect to stay in her mind. You just need to know how to leave the mark she can't forget. In the wild, every creature marks what belongs to it. A lion leaves its scent on the grass. A wolf scratches the bark of a tree. A bird sings from a branch that it considers its own. These are all invisible claims of presence, quiet declarations that whisper, "I was here." Humans are no different. But instead of scent or claw marks, we leave emotional traces. Every powerful interaction, every charged moment, every feeling we awaken in another person becomes our invisible fingerprint on their memory, especially in a woman's mind. Most men think attraction is built through words, appearance, or logic. But the truth is, none of that lingers. What truly lasts is the feeling she associates with you, the emotional mark you leave behind. When a woman remembers you, she's not recalling your face or your sentences. She's recalling how her body reacted to you. Her nervous system stores that experience like an imprint. It's not rational. It's primal. Think of it like this. A 3-second glance, if charged with emotional tension, can outlast months of polite conversations. A moment of genuine connection, the kind that bypasses her conscious mind, embeds itself in her memory far deeper than any text, compliment, or romantic gesture ever could. Because feelings, not logic, are what carve permanence in her mind. That's what emotional ownership really is, a kind of psychological gravity. You don't own her because she chooses you. You own her because her body remembers you, your energy, your tone, your silence, your presence. And here's the truth most men never learn. Emotional ownership doesn't happen through effort. It happens through resonance. The more emotionally alive she feels in your presence, the deeper your mark sinks into her subconscious. This is why women can forget entire relationships, but still remember a single moment that made them feel something real. It's not about duration. It's about intensity. Her memory system isn't a calendar. It's a collection of emotional fingerprints. So when you try to win her with words, logic, or consistency, you're playing the wrong game. Because her heart doesn't record information. It records sensations, and sensations don't fade easily. Here's the problem. Most men go through life never learning how to leave that kind of mark. They chase, they convince, they perform, but their presence leaves no emotional echo. The woman walks away, not because he wasn't good enough, but because she felt nothing that stayed. To truly own a woman's mind, you must understand this law. Feelings are the only territory that matters. Once you learn to leave your emotional signature behind, your presence will linger long after you're gone. To understand how emotional ownership actually happens, you need to see attraction for what it truly is, not a choice, but a neurological response. Attraction doesn't live in her logic, it lives in her nervous system. And once her body associates your presence with emotion, you've already entered her subconscious. Inside the human brain, the limbic system, the part that processes emotion and memory, works like wet cement. Every time she feels something strong in your presence, that feeling imprints. It dries around your image. The stronger the emotion, the deeper the mark. That's emotional imprinting. It's not magic, it's biology. Men store attraction logically. They remember why they like someone. She's attractive, kind, smart, loyal. But women don't fall through logic. They fall through feeling. Their emotional memory is directly tied to experience. That's why she may forget what you said, but she'll never forget the way your voice made her feel. The human nervous system doesn't store words, it stores reactions. You can test this easily. Think about a time when someone's presence changed the entire energy in a room before they even spoke. That's not charisma, that's emotional signature. And every man has one. The question is, does yours create calm, curiosity, or chaos? When a woman says, "There's something about you," she's describing that signature. It's not your face, your car, or your achievements. It's the emotional frequency you carry. Her body recognizes it before her mind can name it. That's why she can feel drawn to you, even when she doesn't want to be. It's her nervous system remembering the imprint. Once an emotion is anchored to you, logic can't override it. You become part of her internal pattern. When she thinks of safety, excitement, or desire, her mind replays your presence like a reflex. That's why some men become unforgettable. Not because they're perfect, but because they trigger emotions that feel alive. This is why emotion always beats logic. You can't reason your way into a woman's memory, but you can feel your way into it. The male mistake is thinking control equals certainty. The truth is, control equals energy. The more emotionally grounded you are, the more her system sinks to yours. That's how emotional imprinting takes root. When she can't separate what she feels from who she feels it with. And when you understand this, you stop trying to manipulate outcomes. You stop chasing validation. You start focusing on what truly moves her, emotional impact. Because every look, every silence, every shift in your tone is teaching her nervous system who you are. And once that connection locks in, even distance won't undo it. That's emotional control. Quiet, invisible, and far more powerful than any words. Most men think women fall in love with logic. That if they act right, say the right things, and never make mistakes, she'll choose them. But logic doesn't make her feel anything. It only makes sense. And attraction has nothing to do with sense. You can have the stable job, the loyal heart, the consistent messages, and still lose her. Not because you failed, but because she stopped feeling. Logic builds comfort. Emotion builds connection. And when emotion fades, logic becomes background noise. A woman doesn't replay your resume in her head when she's alone. She replays the moments that made her heartbeat change. The way your silence carried weight. The way your eyes lingered like you knew something she didn't. Those are the details her body remembers. Not your plans, not your words, your energy. The so-called nice guy follows the checklist. Be dependable, be kind, be patient. But he forgets one thing. Predictability kills emotion. When every interaction feels safe but lifeless, her nervous system disengages. She starts drifting, not because she wants someone else, but because she no longer feels you. You see, women don't fall for the man who treats them best on paper. They fall for the man who makes them feel most alive. That feeling doesn't come from comfort. It comes from emotional movement, curiosity, intensity, depth. Without that, even loyalty becomes invisible. It's why she can leave the man who gave her everything and still think about the one who gave her chaos. The chaos wasn't love. It was stimulation. The emotional charge became her anchor. The human brain, especially the emotional brain, craves intensity more than stability. She'll tell herself she's tired of drama, but her nervous system still remembers the adrenaline that made her feel something real. This doesn't mean you need to create chaos. It means you need to create contrast. She must feel the difference between your calm and your depth, your strength and your softness. Logic doesn't do that. Presence does. When she feels you without you saying a word, she connects beyond her reasoning. That's where attachment starts. So if you've ever been replaced by a man you thought was worse than you, remember this. She didn't choose him for what he offered. She chose him for how she felt around him. A woman's heart doesn't stay where she's treated best. It stays where she feels the most. Stop trying to convince her to stay. Start learning how to move her. Because emotion is the only language her subconscious understands. And once you learn to speak it fluently, you'll stop competing with logic and start leading with power. Attraction feels random, but emotional imprinting follows a pattern. Once you see it, you can almost predict when a woman is starting to get attached. There are 3 distinct stages that shape how deeply she connects: curiosity, emotional resonance, and anchoring. Each stage builds upon the last. Miss one, and the connection fades. Master all 3, and you become unforgettable. Stage 1. Curiosity. This is where everything begins. When she first meets you, her mind isn't looking for perfection. It's scanning for difference. Something that feels slightly unpredictable, just enough to spark her imagination. Curiosity isn't about looks or status. It's about energy. The way you hold eye contact half a second longer than usual. The way you don't rush to fill silence. The calm confidence that makes her wonder what's behind it. Curiosity activates her imagination, and imagination is emotional investment. The moment she starts imagining you, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, she's already emotionally engaged. You've planted the first seed. This is why mystery attracts more than explanation. When you reveal too much too soon, her curiosity dies, and with it, the first stage of attachment. Stage 2. Emotional resonance. Once curiosity pulls her in, she starts to test emotional depth. This is where most men fail, because they either dismiss her emotions or try to fix them. But resonance isn't about fixing. It's about understanding. When you validate what she feels without trying to solve it, she begins to feel seen. That's the emotional bridge. Statements like, "I get why that would bother you," or "That sounds tough," tell her one thing: this man gets me. When she feels emotionally understood, her guard drops. She starts revealing more, trusting more. Her nervous system relaxes around you, and that calm becomes pleasure. You're no longer just a person she likes. You've become her emotional mirror. Stage 3. Anchoring. This is where emotion turns into memory. When she laughs with you, feels peace beside you, or even tension that excites her, her body stores that sensation and attaches it to your image. It's the same mechanism that makes a song remind her of someone, except now you're the trigger. Anchoring happens below conscious awareness. She might tell herself she needs to move on, but her nervous system disagrees. Because once emotion bonds with presence, it can't easily separate. Every future experience is unconsciously compared to the one you created. This is why some men fade and others linger for years. The lingering isn't a choice, it's biology. When you understand these 3 stages, curiosity, resonance, anchoring, you realize that emotional imprinting isn't manipulation. It's mastery. You're not forcing her to feel. You're guiding her through the emotions her mind was built to crave. Owning a woman's mind isn't about control. It's about creating emotional impact, the kind that leaves a lasting echo without crossing the line into manipulation. Emotional imprinting is powerful, but it's not a game. It's a responsibility. And when you understand how to use it ethically, you stop chasing attention and start commanding presence. Here are 5 triggers that quietly shape how deeply she connects with you. Trigger 1. Presence. Presence is your most underestimated power. When you're with her, be with her. Not halfway in your phone, not drifting in your thoughts. Women feel divided attention instantly. It's a nervous system response. True presence slows everything down. Your voice, your breath, your gaze. You create safety without saying a word. She relaxes because your energy feels grounded. Presence doesn't impress her. It anchors her. Trigger 2. Storytelling with emotion. Most men tell stories to impress, but emotionally intelligent men tell stories to connect. You don't need a dramatic past or perfect success. You need authenticity. When you share something that reveals your humanity, struggle, growth, or realization, you open an emotional door. For example, there was a time I almost gave up, but staying calm through chaos changed everything. That's not oversharing. It's emotional truth. She feels your depth, not your performance. Trigger 3. Tension and release. Connection thrives on contrast. Build tension, then ease it. That's the rhythm of emotional addiction. You tease with confidence, then soften with warmth. You challenge her view, then meet her with understanding. That subtle push and pull activates her curiosity and comfort at once. It's the emotional roller coaster her brain equates with attraction. Predictability kills emotion, but emotional rhythm keeps her hooked long after the moment passes. Trigger 4. Mirror, then lead. When she's anxious, don't correct her. Mirror her energy first. Match her tone, her speed, her emotion, then shift it. If she's tense, slow your breathing, lower your voice. When she's light, lift your energy slightly higher. You're not absorbing her mood, you're guiding it. This creates emotional synchronization. Her system learns to regulate through yours. Without realizing it, she begins to associate you with balance. You become her emotional compass. Trigger 5. Emotional variety. If you want her to never forget you, give her emotional range. Don't get stuck in one tone, always serious, always funny, always calm. Predictability fades fast. The man who can shift, who can make her laugh, think, question, soften, becomes a full-spectrum experience. Women don't crave one emotion. They crave the man who makes them feel everything. Playful one moment, grounded the next. Passionate yet calm. Consistent yet unpredictable. Each emotional shade paints a deeper image of you in her mind. This is how you own her mind ethically. Not by control, but by aliveness. You're not creating dependence. You're helping her feel something she rarely feels. Safe, seen, and awake. Because the truth is, she doesn't crave the man who gives her peace all the time. She craves the man who makes her feel alive in peace. Real men don't chase. They lead, quietly, emotionally, and with intent. Emotional leadership isn't about dominating a woman's feelings. It's about guiding the emotional tone of every interaction. It's the ability to make her feel safe in your presence without losing her curiosity about you. It's what separates the man she remembers from the man she forgets. Most men react to a woman's mood. She's upset. They panic. She's distant. They chase. She's emotional. They try to fix it. That's not leadership. That's emotional submission. A leader doesn't absorb her energy. He sets the emotional climate. His calm becomes her calm. His steadiness becomes her grounding. And once her system sinks to yours, she can't help but trust you, even when she doesn't understand why. Leadership starts with control over yourself. When you can stay composed under pressure, she feels it. The more emotional chaos she brings, the more your composure becomes power. You don't have to speak louder. You just have to stay still. The nervous system doesn't follow logic. It follows regulation. The person who's most emotionally centered always leads the dynamic. That's why she feels drawn to the man who can handle her intensity without judgment. Not because he tolerates her emotions, but because he can hold them. His steadiness gives her permission to soften. His depth gives her space to be herself. That's the paradox of power. The more emotionally grounded you are, the more her emotions revolve around you. You're not teaching her how to feel. You're teaching her what it feels like to be with a man who doesn't lose himself. She senses that difference immediately, a quiet strength that doesn't need validation. When you embody that energy, she relaxes into it. Her nervous system begins to treat you as home base. That's emotional leadership. In this state, connection stops being a transaction. It becomes resonance. You no longer need to chase her attention because your presence already commands it. You no longer seek reassurance because her energy naturally aligns with yours. She follows your emotional rhythm because it feels safe, familiar, and magnetic all at once. The truth is simple. You're not trying to make her feel for you. You're helping her feel herself through you. That's what emotional leadership does. It transforms you from a participant in her emotions to the center of gravity they orbit around. And that's the real psychology trick. You don't dominate her mind. You become the silent force her emotions can't resist. Every man can talk. Few can make a woman feel. That's the difference between being remembered and being replaced. Words fade. Logic fades. Even attraction fades. But emotion, that's permanent. Because once you make her feel something she can't explain, you become the thought she can't silence. That's emotional ownership. It's not about control. It's about influence at the deepest level of human memory. You've seen how it works. You understand now that it's not the gifts, the plans, or the titles that bind her. It's the emotion that her body links to your presence. When you learn to guide that emotion with calm, depth, and awareness, you no longer need to chase her attention. You become the center of it. A woman's mind doesn't obey logic. It obeys feeling. The moment she feels alive around you, her subconscious begins to orbit. And the stronger your emotional gravity, the harder it becomes for her to escape it. Not because she's trapped, but because she's drawn to what feels real. That's the quiet kind of power most men will never understand. The world teaches you to chase, to prove, to please. But none of that builds connection. The only thing that keeps her is how she feels in your presence. When you can move her emotionally, you own something no one else can touch, her nervous system's memory of you. That's the secret every powerful man knows. Emotion beats logic, every time. And the moment you master that truth, you stop competing, you stop chasing, you stop explaining yourself. Because power doesn't talk, it resonates. If this message hit somewhere deeper than logic, hit that like button. Not for me, but for the version of you that's done begging for attention. And if you're ready to stop reacting and start leading, drop the word owned in the comments below. You don't win women by force. You win by mastering what moves them and becoming the calm they can't forget. Because once you understand the psychology of emotion, you never have to dominate again. You already do.